Okay. All right. Well, look at this. We are live. Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday, happy March, and happy Women's History Month. Excuse me. I'm Dee Bowden, the author and creator of Collect the Cash, and I'm here with my fabulous friend, Stephanie Smith of New Light Financial Services. Stephanie, happy Saturday. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just sharing this to my Facebook page. So
Did you get you got it?
excuse me one second. No, yes, I'm good. We're good. I'm great. I can't believe it is March. Where did the time go, D?
Yeah, we were just talking about this before we went live. I was just saying, I told God, I'm like, hey, first of all, thank you for your faithfulness for the past 60 days. I'm like, buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to do another 30 days, and like, bing, bada bing, bada boom, here we go.
What's crazy is I feel like for you and what you do, you have these big numbers, right? Didn't you just collect like millions of dollars this week? And it's like, what can you do next month?
Yeah, well, I had started that, and we had a couple of hiccups, so I got it done, but it's not all the way processed, but it will be prayerfully this month. So, but yeah. So anyway, let's tell the people a little bit about you, a little bit about me, and why we created Cash Flow Chronicles.
All right, you start. You go first.
Okay, so I'm Dee Bowden. I'm the author and creator of Collect the Cash. Let's see. So the short story is I've been doing revenue recovery and all the things for many years. I wrote a book called Collect the Cash. It basically tells my personal story of me working for a small IT company, collecting $6 million. And then the CEO says, "Hey, listen, thanks so much for all your services across all the departments. We made an executive decision. We're closing the company and letting 100 people go before Christmas." And so, out of most of you have probably had something in life that's kind of jarred you. Well, this jarred me to say, I need to do something with this pain, with this disappointment. So I turned it into a book. And so I talk about Collect the Cash, and my goal is to teach small and medium-sized companies why collecting your outstanding invoices matter. Not to be afraid, as confident as you would ask for the sale. You have to be just as confident to ask for the money, because sales and AR, they go together. That's my story.
It's a great story, Dee, and you're so good at it based on all of your success stories. And I just love it because it feeds so tightly into what I do with my clients. So my name's Stephanie Smith. I'm co-owner of New Light Financial Solutions. My husband and I run the business together, and we offer outsourced CFO and bookkeeping services. And we basically help business owners walk the one clear path to generating more cash in their business. And we do this by looking at 16 financial drivers that impact your revenue, profit, and cash flow. And we find the ones where you make small tweaks to, and they make the biggest impact. And Dee and I's our paths crossed, and one of the drivers I look at happened to be related to collecting the cash. So we just have so much overlap in what we do, and it's so important for businesses to manage their cash flow well and have a good relationship with money just in general. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, Stephanie. We should, you know what? That's a great place for us to kick off our Cash Flow Chronicles. So let's talk about having a good relationship with money. Some people are like, me, money, they get the heebie-jeebies. And then some people are like, oh, me and money, we go together. We're really good. I got a budget. I got plans. I know all the things. But in between the heebie-jeebies and the I'm really good are the people in the middle who are like, okay, so I'm a small business owner, or I'm not a business owner. I still have a corporate career or whatever. I don't have a budget, or I do my budget sometimes. Sometimes I don't do it, and I get to the end of the month and I'm like, oh crap, what's some other choice words? I don't overspent what I said I was gonna stay within my boundaries. So how do we change the narrative, the mindset around why you need to have a budget, personally, also, plan for your business, and how do we change the mindset to not be afraid of money, but to get more comfortable with it? Because listen, without the money, we don't do business really well, or life really well, for that matter.
I think it's such a really important topic. And it's funny because I just recorded a podcast interview with somebody who what he does for businesses and people is help them overcome their money blockages. And he talks about money mindsets. We had such a great conversation about mindset of money. And it's not just in the business world. It's really your personal beliefs, and some of it could be subconscious or things we think about every day, like money doesn't grow on trees, or I don't know, pick whatever phrase you grew up with. I know I did, right?
Yeah.
And all those things feed into how we do business and how we think about ourselves and how we can handle money in our business. Because if you're not good at paying your personal bills, you're probably not going to be great at paying your business bills either. And there's just so much overlap. So for me, I feel like the first step is awareness. Just having this conversation, talking about it, and thinking to myself, well, what is my relationship with money, and where do I want it to be, and how do those not relate to each other?
Great question, Stephanie. And I love that. You're like, where am I now? And actually, this is perfect because as we kick off March, maybe that's the question we should ask the audience, is to say to y'all, where are you now with your money, and where do you want to be by March 31st? Like, what's your goal? Like, for example, all right, so me and money, we go together. We do okay. There is, all of us have had, some situation with money. So whether you've ran up credit card debt, finally said you're sick of being in debt, and you come up with a plan. You're like, okay, I'm gonna stop spending. I'm gonna actually buckle down. I'm gonna, I'm gonna list out all my debts, and I'm gonna start with the smallest one. Do the base. I think it's called the snowball effect. You start off with the smallest one, get that paid off, take that money, put it with the next one, put the next one, put the next one. Here's the thing: all of us have a struggle with something. We just have to be talking about money because money is a tool that we need in life and in business. And if you've ever had money trauma, money stress, money drama, pick your thing. We all got it, but it's like, how do you want to change where you are so you can actually have a better relationship with money going forward, this month and this year? Because one of the things that's so important is that, one is identifying, okay, I made some money mistakes. Two, how about you get some information? There's podcasts, there are books. There's a lady, her name is Tiffany Alashay. She has a book that's called Get Good with Money, and she teaches you I think it's the 10 or 12 steps on how to get good with money. You're not going to change anything if you don't get some new information, number one. Number two, if you don't do what I call a pattern interrupt. So if you aren't really good with money, one, you got to find out, okay, Stephanie knows this. I'm always like, what had happened was, what's the story? What had happened was with your money. What happened? You got to figure out what had happened was with your money, number one. Number two, what happened to you or with you that you're not good with it. And then three, you got to decide, you know what? I don't want the rest of 2025 or beyond to be this story. I want to change it. So like I'm saying, a book, podcast, financial advisor, admit that you made a mistake, get the help that you need, and don't be embarrassed about it, because all of us got a thing that we got to work on. We just have to be talking about money. If somebody else has something else, but right now, if we want 2025 to be different, the rest of 2025 to be different, we have to do a pattern interrupt. You got to get some knowledge. You got to get some help. You got to get some books. You got to listen to podcasts, and you got to make a decision. You got to choose you so that you can have a better future with your money in for the rest of 2025.
I love that you said right at the end there, you have to choose to make a change, right? So once you figure out what's stopping you, and think about the thoughts that go through your head about your money, like, oh, there's always bills, or I'm never going to get ahead, or whatever it is. And you kind of have to just stop it. Like, I can't think like that anymore. You have to have that positive outlook with money, and then you end up making those things come to fruition. I'm not going to say manifest necessarily, but I do think that the way that you think, if you're all, oh, woe is me all the time, or I have so much money I have to pay in my taxes, or whatever it is, like, we need a different outlook. Like, we need a positive outlook. Yeah. I can do this. I can have a budget. I can pay my bills. I can get organized. And that's a great way to start, especially in your personal life, but definitely in your business as well. Like, set. And I know we could talk about this, but a previous conversation we've had, Dee, was talking about setting aside time every month to look at those things, right? You can't just assume it's going to happen, right? I'm just going to do this. And if you don't take the time to do it, it doesn't happen. So setting some time aside.
Let's talk about that, because that's so important. Because here's the thing. Okay. If you don't set aside time, and somebody in the audience might be saying, well, why would I do that? Well, here's the thing. Whenever you decide to make a change, let's go back to January 1st. December 31st or January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, whatever. Most people did this thing. Oh my gosh, I'm setting New Year's resolutions. I am going to the gym. I am drinking my water. I am ... whatever the I ams were y'all wrote down or you put on your phone in your notes. You said, I'm doing . You made these fabulous declarations. I'm doing . Great. Then you're like, oh, that means I actually got to commit to what I said I was going to do. Oh, you mean I got to actually take my Humpty Dumpty self to the gym? Oh, you mean I got to go get a trainer? Oh, I got to go get some vegetables. Oh, I got to go get some water. Oh, I need a new gym outfit. Oh, I need new sneakers, new socks, whatever. Then when you started looking at all the things that you were going to have to do to support the decision you declared that you made, you're like, I don't feel like doing that no more. I'm good with this. I'm just gonna stay big. I'm just gonna have the big back. I'm not working on it. I'm not changing stuff. But seriously, if you want things to be different, if you made those declarations in January, if you expect to have a different outcome the rest of this year, if you said you were going to the gym, did you get a gym membership? Did you ask if they have a trainer that can help you figure out your eating plan, your exercise plan for where you are right now and where you want to be? And then are you going to stay committed? Because here's the thing, nothing changes until you make a commitment, until you do two things. One, make a decision, and two, make a commitment. As committed as you are to watch your Netflix shows and whatever else you do, you got to be doing it's the same thing. You listen, when you say I'm going to watch I'm going to Netflix and chill, you got your snacks, you ready, you got your comfy PJs, you in there and you're watching your show, keeping up with all the things. Well, as committed as you want to watch your Netflix shows and all the things, you got to be just as committed if you want your money story to change by the end of 2025. So no shade toward Netflix. It was just an example, just saying. But whatever your thing is, the point is I'm trying to give you a practical example because all of us make commitments to things all the time. You just got to decide that making the commitment to my money matters. And I'm going to either do it myself or get a book or listen to a podcast or listen to Dee and Stephanie or all the above. And I'm going to start small. Here's the thing. If you have a huge, let's say you're in debt $10,000 and you're like, oh my gosh, just the thought of it gives me okay, got it. What can you do today to start working toward chipping that away? Okay, it's $10,000. Okay, you could say, I'm going to put $100 toward that debt every month and just make the decision, automate the payment, set it up for when you get paid, let it get paid. At least you took a step toward working off the debt and celebrate your win. I said, Stephanie knows I'm big on celebration. I don't have my clappers nearby, but clap, listen, if you set it up that you got your $100 automatic payment going in toward that debt, celebrate that because that will build momentum. And then when you get more money, you can add more money to it. But the goal is if you want to change that, you have to decide that it's worth working toward this so you can have a different outcome by the end of 2025. Come on, Stephanie, jump back in.
So true, Dee. And I was going to say that when it comes to not having the time, right? People, I feel like that's always an excuse. I don't have the time for it. But if you think about the things that you like to do, you find the time. You find Absolutely. The time for the things that need to get done that you like to do. So there's always time if you commit to it. But I was gonna chime in too, Dee, and say you have to start small. So what we do with our clients is your business could be a hot mess, but we don't come to you and be like, you need to fix everything because right. That's overwhelming. It gets uncomfortable and you get into the freeze. You can't make decisions. So you have to pick the one thing that you know is going to make a difference and you start there and you make that change and then you move on to the next thing and you make a change. And I think what you do, Dee, is a great place to start for any business if they're looking to get into their finances and see what's going on is to look at who owes you money. And even in that realm of things, starting small, start with the small ones. But if you're looking overall in your business, I think starting with your invoices that are unpaid is a great place to start.
Thank you, Stephanie. Because you know what, I'm gonna take that baton. I'm gonna talk about like why collect, and actually that's perfect because I can talk about collecting cash and why tracking your invoices matters. So what I'll do is I will teach you how to track your invoices by telling you a short story on how you bought your cell phone. Everybody who's listening now and in the future. When you bought your cell phone, it kind of went like this. Welcome to whatever phone store. Hey, what brings you in today? Oh my gosh, my phone is not working. I got this button. I keep hitting this button. It's not working. Whatever. Before they go any further with you, they ask you, okay, you know what? We need to verify that you're a customer with so and so and so. So you give them your driver's license. The person opens up their laptop and they go, okay, boop. They find your account and then they confirm that you are that person. Then they start off with a subtle sale. Did you know you were eligible for an upgrade? You're like, I didn't come in here to buy a new phone. I just want you to fix this button. I need to go on my way. I got things to do. But while you're sitting there in the moment of the story, you're like, well, you know what? It can't hurt for me to just walk around. Let me see what's out here. Okay, so before you know, you're like, you know what? how much is that? How much is that upgrade am I eligible for? And you're like, oh yeah, I saved this much. Okay, we're gonna do this. So before you know it, you're in a new sale. You're actually into a new contract. The person at the phone store goes and does order entry. They order fulfillment. They go in the back and get your phone because they got 10 phones in the back. They bring out the new phone. They scan the barcode. It gets uploaded to your account. And now you've got the new phone. Then they do the transfer credit from the old phone to the new phone. They tell you, okay, this is your new phone, the new price. Either you bought it outright or you old school paying layaway. So there was a sale, contract, order entry, order fulfillment. Then they do this, accounts payable. Hey Stephanie, when do you want your bill? And they sit there and ask you, when do you want us, said phone company, to bill you for our services? And you say, I want my bill on such and such date. They punch it in and they schedule it. So there's a sale, contract, order entry, order fulfillment, accounts payable. They bill you every single month with the new contract terms, what you bought, how much your phone is for, all the things. And then there's me, collect the cash. There's someone in every phone company that's collecting payments every single day, every single week, every single month. And before you get to leave that phone store, after you do the sale, the contract, order entry, order fulfillment, accounts payable, aka the bill that comes to you every single month, collect the cash, me, AR, we collect the money, you sign a new contract and you agree to the new terms of this new phone. It's whether you bought the phone outright or you're doing payment plans, and it's for 2 years, 3 years, whatever gigabytes you bought, they go with it. If you bought extra accessories, all the things, you sign that contract, and then you go over to the fabulous cashier and they say, hey, Stephanie, how would you like to pay for this? And they say debit, credit, cash. One of those three tools to pay for this happens, and then you wait for these two magical words, transaction approved. And before you get to go out with your new phone and a new bag and a new case and all the things, everything I just described is how you bought your phone. The lesson in this is that just as the cell phone story goes through and you have all the things you have to track, as a business owner, even personally, for a business owner, you would have the name of your customer, the contract number if you have one, the item that they bought from you, when you're supposed to invoice them, when you're supposed to get paid, and a section called notes. You can look and see, I've got 5 customers, I've got $1,000 from A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, this was due this date. This was due this date. When are you going to follow up with a phone call, a text, or an email, and say, hey, Stephanie, following up on past due invoice, blah, 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 blah. Like to know if there's an issue. Want to confirm that everything is correct, or if there's something that needs to be corrected, can we fix it so we can actually collect the cash? So the cell phone story is for every person who has one, because that's how you bought your phone. But just know that the phone company collects their cash every single day. Or they have this magical button that goes, the number you have reached has been temporary and disconnected. Because they're not going to keep using it. You're not going to keep using their services and not pay for it. The point is that in Cash Flow Chronicles, cell phone companies collect money every day. Business owners are working to sell their product or their services every day, and you need to have some kind of tracking system to track your payments to know how much money is coming in, and then also a plan on what to do when you don't get paid, so you don't get ghosted.
It's such a good example, Dee, because we all have a cell phone right now. We might not all pay for our cell phone if you're on someone else's plan or whatnot. And but as it relates to business, it's really important to think about this example. It's hard. I think it's a little hard to think I probably have auto pay. That's probably true. But in business, that's not always the case, right? You send an invoice, and you've said this, that doesn't mean you're going to get paid just because you send the invoice.
Right.
And the reason it matters to look at this in your business is because you can make tons of sales and you can send those invoices. You can provide all the services and then never see any of the money. So on paper, right, your business has tons of revenue. I had a $10,000 month and I sent out $10,000 invoices, but if only $2,000 of that gets paid by your clients, your customers, then was that really that good of a month? Like you're out $8,000. Where is it? And that's where Dee comes in, where it's like we need to collect on that money because it's money owed to you, but your business lives on that money because it needs the money to survive. So accounts receivable is so important. We have to keep up with it, and we have to not just let it just disappear. I've talked to so many people that I don't want to do it. It's uncomfortable. It's not that much. It doesn't really matter. And they just write it off, and it all adds up.
It does. And I'm so glad you said that. First of all, thank you for that. And I'm so glad you said that, because here's the thing. You didn't go into business to lose money. I jokingly say, Stephanie knows this, I jokingly say, okay, either over chicken wings, tequila, whatever your drink of choice is. You're like, oh, I've got this great idea. We're gonna do da 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 da, and then you formulate it, you make it legal, you get started, and you go to sell your product or your service. Nobody plans on getting ghosted, but getting ghosted happens a lot. And the thing is, if you just have this, we're talking about mindset. If you have this mindset, oh, it's too uncomfortable for me to ask my client for the money, but it wasn't uncomfortable for you to ask them for the sale. The sale and getting paid, they go together. So as comfortable as confident as you were to ask for the client to become your client and ask for the sale, you have to see the same mindset that you have to be as comfortable to ask for the money. People brush off getting paid because they're like, oh my gosh, that means I gotta go confront somebody, I gotta go have this uncomfortable conversation, I gotta whatever your story is. But if you see it as, when I get the sale, when I get my contract, when I deliver my product or my service, I gotta bill these people unless it's automatic or you're paid in full, or I also gotta get paid. You'll know that I didn't just deliver this service to you and just, by the grace of God, you're just gonna automatically pay me. No, I need to have a system in check to make sure. Okay, you bought 10 sets of sneakers, I sold you sneakers. Hey, you got the sneakers, I need my money. That's how this works. This is transactional. We gotta get this done. And I get, because unfortunately, some people have had bad experiences with collections. There's consumer collections, which I think is what people get really twisted about. Those are people like the IRS or the medical bills or whatever, and they call and they're harassing the crap out of you, and you're like, listen, I told you I had money. Look, stop calling me. When I get it, I'll pay you. But that's a bad example. But it's what happens when people hear the word collection. What Stephanie and I are talking about is accounts receivable, which is basically, you have a contract or an agreement with the customer, and you're providing a product or service, and you're invoicing them, and the expectation is when you provide the service, you're gonna bill them, and you're going to collect your money. And you have to know that getting paid for your work is important. That's why you do what you do. And whether you get paid up front, you get paid in full, you do it in half. For example, I'll give you a great example. Many of y'all have to do house projects, and you get people to come in and paint stuff. The painters come in and they usually do something. Hey, Stephanie, we're going to paint 3 rooms. We're going to do a quote. They're going to walk around. They're going to tell you, ask you some questions. What's the measurements? What colors? Blah, 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 all the things. And what day do you want this? And here's the thing. That boyfriend is not rolling up in your house without the drop sheet and the cans of paint and the brushes and the things until you make a deposit. He's not about to roll not 1 ounce of paint anywhere until he gets some money. You're like, you expect him to come in here and just stop rolling in, just come in and just stop painting. You're not gonna pay him. No, that's not how this works. Boyfriend knows, the girlfriend knows. Listen, before we get started, Ms. Smith, I want to confirm we're gonna paint these 3 rooms. It's gonna cost this much. Here's the quote, and then now we're gonna have a deposit of this, and then we are willing to get started with this. Understand that the full payment is due by the time we put the last piece of paint on the wall or beforehand. And if there's any issues with how the painting is going, the project's going, we can stop it, pause it, fix it, course correct, and keep it going. But here's the thing: in order for us to complete the painting, we have to collect the cash, and that's how this goes. Because they're not going to put any more paint on the wall or anything else until you pay in full. So and here's the thing: they're not shy to ask you for the money. They're real simple. They're like, okay, so you're not paying us, or we're not coming back to finish your room. And you got half a room painted. You're like, what happened? You're like, well, hey, we told you we need you to get paid. So let's fix this payment issue, and then we can finish painting your house or whatever we're doing. But the point is that it happens in business all the time. But people have to get comfortable with knowing that your services are worth being paid for. Asking for the sale and asking for the payment, they go together. And the more that you just kind of put this in the rhythm of, we do both. I ask for the sale, I get paid. I ask for the sale, I get paid. I get paid, I get asked for the sale. They go together.
When they not only do they go hand in hand, like, you need the money to run your business. And you brought up a good point, right? If you're that painting company, you need the paint, you need the tarps, you need the contract labor. And if you're not getting paid on the last jobs, there's things you have to pay up front, sometimes before people pay you, right? So you get a deposit. There's still other expenses that you have to pay. And there's your just in general expenses, your rent, your overhead, or whatever you're paying for. And if you're not collecting on your invoices, then that's going to stop you from being able to take new jobs on, right? Because if you don't have enough money to buy the can of paint to begin with, then you can't take on that next job because you haven't collected on the last job. And that's where
Exactly.
the whole concept of cash flow is so important. We want to make sure that there's money constantly flowing in and out of your business accordingly, but you have to have the right amount of cash flow to do your business well and correctly. Otherwise, you're going to go out of business, or you're going to have struggles, or you might end up taking on loans or whatever it is. So it's just so important to really follow up on those things. It's more than just I need to collect the cash. It's I need to stay in business, and it's
Yeah,
really important that I get this money.
true. And I think, thank you, Stephanie. Great point. I think also that I use the painting example because most people who do projects, they're like, oh yeah, I absolutely, I don't want my one of my rooms like left out here, not painted. Okay, I need to pay this guy. Also, I think too, one thing we didn't touch on a lot, but I guess we should probably do this as we're starting to wrap up. In cash flow chronicles, one of the things that comes up a lot is fear. A lot of people have a lot of angst and a lot of anxiety around money. Um, Disclaimer: we're not psychologists. We're just two people in money that deal with money. I deal with it, from accounts receivable. Stephanie deals with it from financial services. And so, please understand this: if you don't begin to address some of your fears about money, it will continue to show up. How you handle your personal money. If you're like, for example, if you're the type of person you just get you just get your mail, and all your mail is just stacked up on the corner. You never open up the bills. You never know like how much is due. You're like, but where does that come from? Like, why do you have money avoidance in terms of your bills? Why don't you know how much is owed every single month? Why don't you have a budget so you know I make this much, I save this much, these are my expenses, and at the end I have this. And then if having a budget still gives you the heebie-jeebies, then get the help you need so you can change that. Because here's the thing: we want you to succeed, for the rest of this year. We're coming together once a month to talk about cash flow chronicles and tell you. I mean, hopefully next month we'll have more stories about some of the things that have happened. Things I've seen, is things Stephanie has seen. Talk about this, but today was to really just introduce this concept of mindset over money. Number one. Number two, get a budget. Number three, as Stephanie talked about, and you have to be good with your personal money, your personal finances, and also your business finances. And if that's a struggle, Stephanie's got great resources, and she can teach you as a business owner, small business owner, how to set up your systems correctly so that they can work. And then as you get more comfortable with, yes, you run the business, yes, you make the sale, yes, you get the client, but there's the other part, the financial part that matters, because even after you get the sale, you still have to manage somebody. If it's not you, the CEO or the small business owner, whoever your person is, your accountant, your bookkeeper, somebody has to help you manage the money, so oh yeah, we've got all these sales, but the sale is not complete until the money's actually in the bank. You got the sale, but the money's not in the bank, which means you can't pay for services, help, assistance, plan to expand, all the things. So jump in, Stephanie, if you have anything else to add.
I was just going to add, I feel like one on the topic of mindset in the business world is we also just need to remember that there's an abundance of money out there, right? And trying to adapt that is there's enough for us to have a successful business, and we just need to hone in on that. And it's not all doom and gloom. To what you were talking about, fear. We don't need to fear money. There's plenty of it out there. And if you can really change your mindset around money, then you'll see it come to you more, and you'll be able to make more sales and pay those bills. And it's just, you got to start small. And I love what you said, put systems and processes in place. If you don't use a bookkeeping software, or at least a spreadsheet, like do something, but you have to get organized, because if you can't look at what's happening on paper, the numbers, you talked about our tracking system, but if you're not writing it down or tracking it to begin with, then that's a huge challenge. So starting with just thinking about what's your mindset about money, and then definitely making sure that you have some kind of process in place to track it and view it and review it on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I would, first of all, thank you for that, Stephanie. I would say, at a minimum, you ought to schedule a money date with yourself at least once a month. I think Stephanie would probably agree with that. Schedule it. Listen. I like fun things. So listen, if you're a Starbucks person, go get your Starbucks. Go get your whatever your size is. Get your snack. sit down with your money. We're gonna have a money date, and we're gonna review all the things, and then you'll see, how the month went, where the hiccups are, where there are problems, and what you might need to adjust going into the new month, so that you can plan for success, because success is planned. It doesn't just happen by happenstance. It's planned. So listen, I want to say thank you all for joining us on the first Cash Flow Chronicles. I've had Stephanie. Thank you so much for being my co-host on this and helping us to just have this conversation, to talk about money and mindset and why it matters. And you probably have seen the banner flowing across here. This is Stephanie's website, which is www.newlightfs.com. Is there anything else you want to add, Stephanie, about your services, what you do to help the good people?
Yeah, so if you're looking for more information about what I do, again, we help business owners walk the one clear path to generating more cash in their business. That's what we do. We want you to meet your personal goals and your business goals. You can meet me online, my website, newlightfs.com, or find me on LinkedIn. I also have a podcast. It's called Getting to the Bottom Line. It's all about things that impact your revenue, profit, and cash flow. Same realm that we're talking about now, but you can find me there. And thanks, Dee. This has been such a great conversation.
Thank you. Let me switch and put up me.
Definitely need to get Dee's book.
Yes.
Full of great information.
So my book is called Collect the Cash, and you can get a copy at collectthecash.biz/book. I love being able to sign my book. I actually sign my book and write you a personal note, because in my book I talk to you about your mindset over money. I give you tips and tricks on how to handle the difficult conversations if you have a client that ghosts you. And also, I teach you the importance of celebrating your wins, because I believe whether you collect a dollar, or in my case, I collect lots, millions of dollars at times, celebrate your wins. And the wins build momentum. So please visit www.collectthecash.biz/book. All right. We good?
Thanks so much, Dee. This has been great.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. Cheers.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.